Welcome to Season 6 of Business Mentorship, Keeping It Real. Introducing corporate leaders who have taken the leap to business owner, introducing their great idea and our guest blog, found on shareyourstories.online. Our guest joins us from Kildare, Ireland. Marian Egan is an international speaker, an author, an artist, and an award-winning global winner as an energy frequency expert. With over 30 years experience empowering change through both in-person and online courses. Let's find out how Marian responded to the market and created opportunities through online courses, an app, and selling over 500 books. It's my pleasure to introduce and welcome Marian.
Thank you, Trish. Thank you so much.
It's such a pleasure to see you, and I know it's the end of day for you. So, one of the things that I think is really interesting about your story is being a seasoned entrepreneur with over 30 years experience. You've obviously had to adapt over the years to market conditions. And obviously recently, you've developed over 25 courses online to help folks, with the change and transformation. So how did you actually start the process to do the online courses?
Well, I think from the personal point of view, when COVID happened, that was the real catalyst and the desperation, So, and out of that desperation came what I created, which has really resonated every single time that I use my frequencies. It's just incredible, But what I really am so grateful for is that I decided to keep going. The commitment.
Wow, that's such great advice, because you're absolutely right. Sometimes we throw up our hands and go, oh, I just can't do this anymore.
Exactly, but the thing was, my poor mom was sick, my daughter was going through her cancer journey. So it was out of pure and utter desperation that I created my self-healing tool, which was designed for two people, is now global.
Helping many, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful for that. But sometimes that's what happens in life. It's really not what happens to you in life. It's how you react to what happens to you in life.
So true. And I think one of the things that's really important is we have to remember to reach out and ask for help. I don't know about you, but I remember when I started my podcast 6 years ago, I didn't know anything about all of these online platforms, how to do editing, all of those kinds of things. So sometimes we have to lean on our colleagues and our community for help, right? So do you find that the courses that you've developed online what is most popular? The ones that you help to navigate or lead more in a workshop facility, or the ones that folks do on their own as a self-study?
I think the one that I lead and facilitate. Yeah. Right. Because you have that in-person touch, even though you may not be sitting beside each other, but we're sitting beside each other right now.
Right.
And this is the wonderful thing that really made me realize that even though I'm thousands of miles away from you, we can still have an impact with each other,
Right.
The communication end of it. And what I loved about it was, I even at that stage, I started teaching people how to paint.
Right. Right.
And it was wonderful, because it meant when I was finished teaching, I didn't have to clean up.
They had to clean up. It was in their own house, right?
Exactly. So that was
true. That's so true.
No, I think the in-person is really good because you have got the ability to say, sorry, excuse me, can you answer this question now? Because this is, whereas when it's online, you've a tendency to just say, well, I'll come back in a few minutes, and maybe you may not come back at all. So
right.
It's wonderful to have the in-person, even if it's on Zoom,
Yeah, for sure. Now, you do have an app on your website. So give our viewing and listening audience an idea as to what the app actually does, because you access the app with a QR code.
Yeah, well, with the app that I have all my videos on that. So anyone can go in there and they can actually see me painting the image of, say one of my cards that I created, you can actually see the image being painted because they are all hand painted images, right?
Right.
So
Right.
something like this can be seen on on the app. I have nutritional videos in there because I deal with physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, nutritional, and environmental.
Right.
So I cover a lot, and that's the holistic an element of my business.
Sure.
Why I've been going this length of time because I help people to get results. Now, somebody said to me during the week, "Oh, so you cure?" And I say, "No, no, no. I cure absolutely nothing.
Nothing. That's right.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
empower people to heal themselves. I have the
Right.
tools. I have the
Right.
education. I have the expertise, and
Yes.
that's what I impart. It's like teaching a child to ride a bike. Teaching a child to fish. Teach
Right.
somebody, so that they can do it themselves. Then, and
Right.
it's so wonderful to share the knowledge, pass it on. And that's
Right.
my mission for this year, Trish, is to pass on my expertise, teach people how to do that. So I've developed
Right.
a course to teach people how to do that as well.
So, what's interesting, we'll talk a little bit about lifelong learning because I'll let you share with our viewing and listening audience how many certificates you actually hold because clearly you didn't start this business 30 years ago and then sit back on your laurels and continue to do the same thing. I mean, you have to provide and listen to your customer as to what they're looking for. So how many certifications does Marian have?
Oh, I have a folder that take with certificates in. I got one yesterday.
You're
And
kidding.
no, I'm not. And I just keep saying, okay, I'm done. I'm not doing any, I don't need to do any more. But it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
The whole
Yeah.
reason I went down this road was I was looking for healing myself. I needed to heal
Oh,
myself.
yeah.
This is where it started. I didn't start out to start a business. It
Right.
happened organically with me training and with me having to do case studies. The case study people were the ones that got the results. So they went and told somebody else. And then
Right. Right.
a new realm of people coming to see me, So
It's like the rinse and repeat, right? Like, you tell one person and they tell one person and so on and so on. And that's how the referral business works, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was so wonderful to help somebody. And when I look at, people are so grateful for the changes that they've made and they're very thankful, and when they thank me, I just say, look, I helped. I told you, I gave you the information, I gave you the tools, but you did it yourself.
That's
And
right.
it's important that people understand they actually did it themselves.
Right.
Okay, I might have been instrumental in helping them to do that and educating them, but that's why I see myself as that expert with the knowledge to say, well, okay, even if something doesn't work, you can say, well, let's have a look and see what's not
Well, we
working.
can change it. Sure. Sure.
Mhm.
So do you think that sometimes, because you've worked with so many clients all over the world, I know. So do you find that sometimes we have to get out of our own way?
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah. There's a lovely gentleman here in Ireland. He's just retired recently, and he said his quote is, "Are you suffering enough right now, or would you rather wait until you feel worse?"
That's so true, right?
And sometimes that's what happens. His name is Blaise Brosnan. He's a wonderful mentor. But yeah, sometimes we stop and block ourselves.
Right.
So I've just developed a new I call it flip your frequency, right? It's a 3-step system where you detect the stoppers and blockers, what's stopping and blocking you, eliminate the stoppers and blockers, and then ignite and fuel your power and your purpose. That's the 3-step system. And I'm just so looking forward to,
Sharing that.
sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your book, Marian, because, I'm sure, how many years ago did you publish your book?
In 2010.
Okay, so in 2010, we didn't have all of these online platforms that were available to us for,
No.
the sales and marketing of the book. And you've actually accomplished quite a bit by selling over 500 copies. So was there something that you did from a marketing perspective after you wrote the book that helped to push the envelope forward from the sales?
I wish I could say yes, there is, but you know what? It just was. It is what it is. You know, I mean,
Right.
when I was a child, I used to pick up books and I'd open the book, and if there wasn't any pictures in it, I'd close it.
That's so true. Or the cover, right? I can remember being in the bookstore and buying the book for the cover.
Cover. Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is, actually, I have my book here.
Oh, perfect. Well, let's have a look at it.
I didn't even have it ready. So this is my book. Okay.
Oh, I love the cover. It's
Well,
a great cover.
well, there's a story behind the cover. Would you like to know the story?
Sure, sure.
When I was doing the book, I said to my husband, what am I going to do for the cover of the book? And he said, well, why don't you go meditate and paint and see what comes? So I did. And when I came in, I said to him, okay, I've done that. And he said, well, how's that go? I said, well, no, I really wouldn't, I wouldn't put the image on the cover of my book because it's as dead as a doornail. There was a lovely heart on it, whatever. So I said, come on out and have a look. And he was busy at the time. And I said, oh, sure, hang on. I took a photo of it. So I take my phone out. I show him the photo. I open the book and I say, oh, my gosh. Now I put this story in my book.
Wow.
So you can see here is the painting.
Right. And you got some light in the heart. Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I call this a painting New Life because to me it looked like a new life, you know.
Yeah.
And that became the cover of the book.
How fantastic. I love the story behind the story, right? Because, you know, a lot of times when we see things that from seasoned entrepreneurs, we think, oh, everything happens so easy for them. You know, clearly they've been in business for so long. It's, you know, the road's been smooth sailing. And you and I both know that there's lots of bumps in the road, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are sometimes more than bumps. Yeah.
Exactly. But I love your reference when you said, you know what, you decided to just keep going, right?
Commitment.
There's too many times when we limit our own opportunities because we think, oh, geez, I can't do that, you know, or, you know, no one's going to be interested in that. Now, I bet you your painting workshops were a huge success during COVID.
Well, the online, yes, because couldn't open the doors couldn't open. I mean, I do have a facility for people to come and paint, but they couldn't do that.
Right.
But they loved it because it meant that you were coming into their home because they were in their home. You would have people on screen, and then everybody shared how they felt after painting. Because with the painting end of it, you know, I mean, I have two types of painting: traditional painting that I teach, or painting heart art, which I founded, Heart Art Magic. And the magic is my acronym for my ability to go into my center, because this is where the magic happens.
So true.
We have an innate intelligence to heal ourselves, but sometimes, as you mentioned earlier, we can stop and block ourselves from doing that, you know? So having that ability, and people loved it, and they keep saying to me, Marian, will you start back up again? So I have started back up again. I'm teaching online again. So
excellent.
So
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Tell us a little bit about, so, you know, you've had a very long, successful journey, and I'm sure like any business owner, you sit down at the beginning of the year or at your year end and you start to plan for the future, whether that's 6 months or a year or 3 years or 5, whatever the number is. So where do you see your business moving in the next 6 months to a year? You mentioned that you've developed this new 3-part system, so your focus is to be able to share that with folks. But what do you see as the next step? You've got the online courses, you've got workshops you facilitate, you've got the app that you share with all this wonderful educational information, and of course, you're still doing in-person consulting when you need to. So what's the next step, do you think?
My next step, and I'm really so excited about this because this happened yesterday, Trish. In my book, as I said, if your book doesn't have pictures, then, you know, so these are all my paintings. What I did was I created my deck 3. It are the paintings that are in my book. Okay, so this is my physical deck. But yesterday, I am so excited. I created a digital version of my deck.
How cool is that?
So it just means now that because it'll be more available.
Sure.
I won't have to, because I won't
have to mail it or ship it or anything like that.
Or collate it, because I put all those decks together. You know, I put them together myself.
Right.
So, but here's the most wonderful thing. 4 weeks ago, I had this vision, and I started doing digital decks. Now, this deck, my deck 3, is literally my paintings. So I've created my digital deck 3. I'm going to do my digital deck 2 and deck 1 as well. But what I've started doing is creating digital decks. Now, they're not my hand-painted decks, but then I wanted to see, well, how effective are they? Because these are so effective. And I've been using them for the last 4 weeks, and they work just as well. I mean, I had somebody who was in pain just yesterday. They fell in the snow. I had 2 people this week. They fell in the snow. Obviously, they live in Canada, right?
Sure.
Fell in the snow. One hurt their shoulder, and within two frequency numbers, pain was gone, and the other was 3 frequency numbers, and the pain was gone.
Amazing.
So they work.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But what I've done now is I can create more frequencies. I can create more decks, and
help more people.
And help more people. Exactly. Yeah.
So now, how did you step onto this digital world? Because I mean, you know, doing something, going from the hard copy to digital is not always the easiest of experiences. So did you have someone in your community and your colleagues that has the technology experience that helped you, you know, come up with a process?
Yeah, absolutely. And so this is my associate, and she has showed me how to do it.
Right.
And she's taught me how to do it, and then I've done it. So we are collaborating together. We have a workshop now coming up at the end of March, and we're launching the digital decks on the 1st of March.
Fantastic. What a great announcement for our viewing and listening audience. They can go to will you have them available for purchase online, obviously?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, excellent. Oh, that's excellent.
That's that's a huge step for me, because when I started doing the decks, I was talking about how can I make it digital, not knowing how could I do it, but now it's done.
Isn't that great? Yeah. Isn't that great? Well, you know, Marian, one of the things that I mean, I love about the fact that you've been in business for 30 years. You've been acknowledged by your community in terms of being a global award winner. And what I think the biggest takeaway for our viewing and listening audience will be from today is that we always have to be able to manage and change based on market conditions. So, you know, I'm sure 10 years ago, you would have never thought that you would be doing all this digital work. And here you are with a website, a robust website that's going to be offering all of these tools on a global platform, which is really quite amazing when you think about it.
It's fantastic. Yeah. And as you say, I wouldn't have
even thought of it.
No, it wasn't in my, you know, in my vision at all. But now my vision is just so much wider now, and ready to rock, you know.
Fantastic. So one of the things that we do in the guest blog is we ask folks to share 3 words of advice. So why don't we wrap up our discussion today by you sharing with our viewing and listening audience why your words are important. And they are belief, trust, and commitment.
Yeah, well, I think the belief is like the foundation, because you need to have that solid, true foundation of belief within yourself. And even when you do feel like throwing in the towel, you know, you say, no, hang on a second, you know, I'm doing this not just for me. I can remember saying to myself, okay, Marian, you know, this is what you've done. You've helped so many people. I would never be able to look at myself in the mirror again if I said, I'm not doing this anymore. Right. I'm doing it for me, yes, primarily, but I'm also doing it for those who I care about, which is people I come in contact with. So belief is key and primary, you know. And then the trust is that trust within yourself. Trust is a must. When you have that trust, then there's no stopping you. You'll just keep going. And when you keep going and there is a blockage or something, you'll find a way around it.
Right. That's so true.
Most inventions are made is people say, okay, well, that doesn't work. So if that doesn't work, maybe we tweak it a bit and then let's see what works. So you keep going to find a way. And then the commitment, commitment to yourself and to your passion and your purpose. That's what I do. And do you know, Trish, I'm so grateful that I was able to bring art into my practice, because it was my hobby anyway. But to marry the two together, and commitment, if I think about commitment, this year, like last week, hubby and I celebrated our 51st wedding anniversary. So that's commitment.
Congratulations. Yeah, no kidding. That's commitment for sure.
Yeah. So it's
that's
commitment
wonderful.
is great, but commit to yourself. The one thing, which is primary, is self-love and self-care.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, I really want to thank you for joining us today, Marian, because you've given us so many really great nuggets of information. And I really love that you've been able to, as you say, marry your hobby now with your business. And it's really given you a whole new expansion plan when you think about it for the future. So we certainly wish you many more years of continued success with transformational health. And we'll get feeling that we'll keep in touch and you can give us some updates as we move along. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Okay.
To our viewing and listening audience, I'd like to thank you for joining us today for this edition of Keeping It Real, introducing you to the person behind the logo. If you'd like to connect with our guest, you'll find Marian's contact information in the description portion below. I'm Trish Tonai, author, artist, and the founder and host for the series. And we invite you to share your business story. Just visit our website at shareyourstories.online and subscribe to our channel, Business Mentorship, Keeping It Real. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to meeting you next time when we share another great idea.
Thank you.